Welcome, friends, to the very first ever St. Columba's Vacation Bible School. I'm welcoming you all to the Community Allies VBS. Has anyone done a Vacation Bible School or a VBS at another church? I wonder if ours will be anything like those other experiences. Maybe you've never done it before. Often churches hold them in the summer when everyone's away from school, and they usually do them in person during the week for 5 days during the same week, and everybody gets together and there's singing and storytelling and crafts and activities. It's kind of like a summer camp. This year, our very first VBS is going to be online, and it is going to be for 5 weeks this summer and not just for 1 week for 5 days. So our VBS is called Community Allies. And I wonder if anybody knows what an ally is. Has anyone ever used that word or heard that word? Well, an ally is someone who helps someone else, someone who believes in that person's cause or that person's purpose, and they walk alongside them and help make that person's goal happen. And you've probably heard the word ally or allyship a lot this summer, because a lot of white people right now are thinking really hard about how to be allies with our friends who are people of color. And we are trying to figure out how to live our lives and how to do our actions in a way that helps our friends of color get more equality and more justice in our country. But our Community Allies is not just about racial justice and equality, although that's an important part of it. It's also about our friends, even in Washington, D.C., who might not have as much food as we do. And how can we be allies to them? And how can we be allies to the environment and protect the world that we live in? So we're going to look at a number of different ways we can be allies. And we're going to do that over 5 weeks. And we're going to have on Mondays a video that will be me talking to you about what the week's theme is and reading you a story. And then you'll have a couple days to do all the activities and crafts that are in your packet. And then on Thursday, we'll get together on Zoom and we'll talk about what we learned. Now, I'm wondering if you know all about allyship already, if you know everything about racial injustice or hunger or the environment. I know I don't, and I'm going to be learning along with you. And sometimes I think we're going to feel uncomfortable, or we might feel sad, or we might feel angry. And those are all pretty normal feelings. And part of what we're going to do on Thursday is talk about that and figure out how our actions can help us deal with those uncomfortable emotions. But one thing I know is that when I feel uncomfortable, it means I'm learning and I'm growing. And so that's what I hope we can all do together this summer, is become our better selves together through learning and praying and understanding. So I would like to start week 1 with some stretching. I'm going to sit down, but I want you guys all to stand up. Take a minute, stand up, reach up, stretch really high to the sky. High, stretch all the way up. And then flop yourself all the way forward and touch the floor with your fingertips if you can, or towards the floor. And then stand back up nice and tall. And now we're going to flop our arms around. Just swing your arms, let them be kind of floppy. And then slow them down until they stop at your sides again. And now we're going to finish our little movement with 3 deep breaths. Are you ready? Breathe in and out. And in and out. And one more time, in and out. Okay. Now you can find a seat again and settle in for the rest of this little video. The theme today is how, through knowing ourselves, we can connect with other people. And so we are going to look at a couple things, couple passages, one from the Bible and one's a poem, and some crafts and activities that are going to help us understand ourselves in a way that we can then reach out and begin to understand other people who are different than we are. We're going to think about ourselves and how we share ourselves and how we can use sharing ourselves to connect with other people. The first passage is from the first letter of Peter, chapter 3, verse 8. Finally, all of you, be like-minded, be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate and humble. God is calling us here to join together and to love one another with an open heart and an open mind. He's telling us to listen to other people's perspectives, their stories about who they are and where they've been. And through that and the sharing of our own stories, we can be sympathetic and empathetic to them and really come to understand them and be connected with them. And so when we recognize how someone else feels and they recognize how we feel, we can really come together. The second reading is a poem called Pensamiento Serpentino by Luis Valdez. And it is going to be read by my friend Patricia Balestra, who is also from St. Columba's. And it is based on a Mayan concept called In Lac Ek. And we'll talk more about that on Thursday too. So here's Patricia to read Pensamiento Serpentino.
Pensamiento Serpentino por Luis Valdez. Tú eres mi otro yo. You are my other me. Si te hago daño a ti, if I do harm to you, me hago daño a mí mismo. I do harm to myself. Si te amo y respeto, if I love and respect you, me amo y respeto yo. I love and respect myself.
Thanks, Patricia. I'm so glad you shared that with us. Both In Lac Ek and the Bible passage tell us that we are all connected to each other and our actions affect others. That is why it is important that our actions are rooted in love and caring and respect for each other and for ourselves. I am now going to read you a book called The Day You Begin. It was written by Jacqueline Woodson and illustrated by Rafael Lopez. And she talks about how sometimes we feel like there is no one else around us who we share similarities with. But that when we begin to share our stories and listen to others' stories, we can find similarities and connections that might have been hidden. So I'm going to read the story, and I hope that you enjoy it.